Hi everybody, it's Sally from Sally Stampers. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm bringing you a variation on one of my previous projects. It's a little Easter bonnet. As you can see, it's embossed with the, I don't know why my camera won't focus when I get close. It's embossed with the basket weave dynamic folder, and it does have a little lid that comes off so you can fill it with treats. And you can decorate it really however you like. But isn't it just cute? Little Easter bonnet. I think it's really cute, and I think it would be lovely for some little kiddies that you could perhaps fill them with some mini eggs or little Smarties or anything like that. But I think it's lovely. So I'll show you how to make it. And as I said, it is a variation on a previous box. Do you remember the hexagon Yankee candle votive? It's exactly the same, just a shorter version. So actually the measurements are the same, it's just slightly different. So to start off with then, you're going to need, and I've done some of it already in terms of like these two bits of die cutting, just because I wanted to make it quicker because it will take me a while to do this. It's the second largest circle in the layering circle. So if I just quickly whiz this, so that's the largest, and this is the next one down. So it's the second sized circle from the layered circles. The large one was too much, so I've got two of those, and then I'm simply, because I needed some strength, so I'm just going to get my wet glue and adhere these together. But obviously I want to try and get as close to the edge as I can because I don't want it separating. So pop that there, and then I'm just simply going to drop that on top and then just make sure I've got it right. And it's, you know, just literally by pinching it with my fingers, I'm making sure that they're exactly the same on top of each other, and then I can pop it down and just press those edges, make sure that glue's spreading. So there's your base. So there's the base part of your hat, which is already done, so we'll pop that to one side. So then we need our base, and I'm just using my trimmer again for this so it's a bit easier. So for the actual base, so this part here, you will need a piece of cardstock that is 2.5 by 7 inches, and that's 6.5 by 17.5 centimetres. On the short side, we're going to score at 1.25 inches, which is 3 centimetres, and then we're going to rotate, and we're going to just simply score every inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. That was wonky. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and obviously in centimetres that will be 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5 and 15. Then you simply fold and burnish all of those score lines. So literally just go along folding and burnishing all of the score lines. So you have this. Now, as you can see, it is the same depth or thickness either side. So these are both 1.25 by 1.25, and they're both 1 inch wide. So it doesn't matter which way you cut these. You need to cut one corner away, and I've done this back to front now, but never mind. One corner away, so that is going to be your base. So this will spin round and adhere. So where you've not got a tab, you need to cut along each bit. So we're going to cut down each score line here, and as I said, it's exactly the same as my Yankee Candle votive one that I made. And then again with my wet glue, just on that join there, and then I'm just going to spin that round, join it up and press it down. Whoops. And make sure it doesn't slide if you're using wet glue. Okay, so once we've done that, I then need some of my Calypso Coral cardstock, and I'm using my 1.5 inch circle punch, and I'm just popping one of those out ready. And then what you need to do is find your join on the back and then simply start folding your top parts in. Now what I will say is take your time with this as a lorry goes past. Take your time with this, because if you glue them slightly wrong, you're going to get an extremely wonky box. And if you look carefully on this, you can see that this moved just as I was doing it. So I don't know if you can tell, probably better off looking at the top, but you can sort of see, look, where this bit slipped out. Makes me angry, and it took me 4 attempts to make that lid because it kept moving. So what I suggest is wet glue, and just simply pop a tiny bit on each one. Don't necessarily adhere them, just stick a little bit on, and then once you've got them in place, I'll just slide my grid paper up. Use one of these straight edges on the edge of your grid paper and put it literally on an inch mark. So I'll just tilt my paper. You can see I've got it between 8 and 9 there, because if your box is of the right shape and you've not squidged any of it, then you will find that these 2 points here will also be on the 1/2 inch mark, and if you check at the back you'll see that that is straight too, and that's how you can tell your box is the shape it's meant to be. Now again, like I said, you do need some patience here. I would suggest that you, just for a minute or two, just sit and hold very gently this in place so that that glue takes and so that your box doesn't misshape. Once you've done that, turn it upside down and then put some glue on that circle punch and drop it on the inside. Make sure you're fairly central with it, and again I can see that this is starting to misshape again. Oh, it drives me crazy, honestly. It is a bit of a fiddly project, but obviously the results are worth it in the end. And I actually went back and used my StazOn because it's the perfect size pot for the circle and for the box itself. So I'm giving that a real good press, sort of making sure that I'm sort of working very small circular movements to get pressure on the whole circle, and then hopefully you should have a fairly decent shaped box. So the next thing you need to do is glue this onto your base, and again I've just gone round with my wet glue, and again just make sure, probably not as much as I've done there because it's all come out rather fast, but pop your glue right to the edges. Again, leave this time to dry. Obviously I can't because otherwise I'll be here for 3 hours. Leave these to dry and then simply pop, and I'm just going to pull this my way and move my grid paper back so you can see everything. I'm just going to pop this back, and I'm actually going to use the camera view, although it's slightly slanted so that doesn't help, to make sure that it's central to my circle. And then just very gently, and I actually had a cup of tea at the time, and I'm just resting the palm of my hand on this to press it down. So I'm not pressing that hard that it's going to bend all of the paper or the card, but I'm holding it down enough for that glue just to take around the edges because I want it to stick. Otherwise, when you start taking this lid off and you start pulling here, it's just going to pull it here and make a mess. So you need to make sure that you've got this stuck down nicely, and if any glue seeps out you can wipe it away with a cloth or some kitchen towel, or if you're just me, just using a fingernail. You could always hide it with a flower if it came to it. But as I say, you really do need to just sort of make sure that you press this and hold it down and wipe away that glue. I'm actually going to be naughty and use my paper piercers. Sorry, my snips here. And I'm just going round wiping the glue that's seeping out. But I really do advise that you... Ow! I'm stabbing myself with it as well. I really do advise that you spend the time to do this, because otherwise it won't set and you'll get gaps all around the base and it will look rather ridiculous. So I'm quite happy that that is now starting to take. So I'm going to pop that, you see it's moved shape again now, never mind. So I'm going to pop that to one side while I do my lid. So exactly the same shape and form. So your lid is now 2 3/8 by 7 1/8, and we're going to score the short side at 1 1/8, which I'm going to do this side just because it's easier. And then we're going to score exactly the same in terms of those repetitive increments, but we're going to do 1 and 2 inches, and then we do 3 1/8, 4 1/8, 5 1/8, whoops, and 6 1/8. And in centimetres that will be 2.5, 5, 7.8, 10.3, 12.8 and 15.3. We're then going to fold and burnish our score lines, again going all the way along. And then we need to cut our piece. So again, just remember that the longer piece are the bits that go over the top. Okay, so if you're not sure, remeasure. So this is my 1 1/8, which is going to be going down the side. So I need to take away this top corner here. And that's all I'm doing at the moment. I'm just taking that away, a little wedge there, because now I'm going to emboss my piece. Now, I have tried embossing and then scoring. It wasn't as effective. Trust me, I tried several different ways of this, and that was the only way that I found worked better. So it's a dynamic embossing folder, this beautiful basket weave. So you simply need your Big Shot platform and a clear plate. No guessing for what I've been playing with. Can you see on there? Can you tell what that is? Hopefully you can. So from this piece then that is now my lid, we don't need to worry about this bit being embossed because it's the tab that's just being stuck inside. And as if by pure luck, if you pop this in, don't put it quite to the end because this bit doesn't have embossing. So put it to the end of your embossing folder, but to the end of the design, not the folder itself. Make sure it's fairly straight. And then as we fold it down, you will see you can then just push very slightly, push it back in to make sure. You kind of have to fiddle and play a little bit because it, for some reason, it seems to stick to this mat. What's going on here? Why is this not playing today? Probably fed up with me using it. Right, there we go. So I've got a small bit here. I'm not too worried about that. Remember, embossing, in fact, I am going to push it all the way to the end because it seems to spit it out when I don't. Right, there we go. Oh my days, it's not straight now. There we go. Right, so folded edge of your embossing folder in first, single plate on top, and we'll just run it through and then take that out. Let's get rid of that. And then, as if by luck, it's beautifully embossed without the tab being embossed. Now you might be thinking, well, where are your score lines? They've disappeared. but they actually haven't, because if you just very carefully bend, that one will come back into play. And then if we start from this end, they just all suddenly appear. Now, obviously, if you were to do these now, scoring and burnishing, you're going to flatten all of this beautiful embossing. So actually, it's better to do it this way. So where we've cut that corner out, now we need to cut down all of these. So again, going all the way down to that line. And then we're going to do exactly the same as we did before. So we're going to pop some adhesive, and again, this is again where I will say to you, patience is a virtue, because it really does make a world of difference. So that's the back. So I'm literally just going to wrap this round as much as I can, just to make sure that it's all the same shape. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to slide it off, pop it back on. Now you will have a very small gap just there, you see, just a small gap, but again, it's not noticeable when it's made up. Make sure that you adhered this, and again, make sure that this is stuck down well. And just while that's sticking, what I am going to do is back in with my scrap of Calypso Coral, my 1 3/4 circle punch. Let's have one of them out. I'm going to pop that then, nearly forgot, oops. I'm going to run that through the Big Shot so that it is also embossed. So again, just popping it in the embossing folder and running it through. And then there is my embossed circle. So I will just pop that to one side. So once we've done this, we're going to do exactly the same again. Glue, here's my glue. So we're going to do the same again. And again, I'm just going to go very gently with some of the adhesive. And again, you can see that this is quite happily messing about now. It doesn't want to stay to its shape. So where's my join? Crikey, I'm not good at joining these. I can't even see the joins. So again, it is a fiddle at first because the lid isn't there to support this. But you want to get this onto your box to help make sure that it stays in the right shape. Why can't I get... Do you know, I had this fiddle before and then it went on perfectly. I think the secret is to not have it too low at the back when you're trying to put it on. But it is a small fiddle, shall we say. Oh, I think we're there. There we go. Right. Gently tap it so that it can sit on in place. And then obviously we just need to then ease it down. There we go. That's done it. So quickly now pop these in before that glue all goes funny. So there's the lid on. And again now, just make sure of everything. Make sure we've not got any pieces jutting like this piece. Just make sure that it's all on. Just give it a little gentle spin. So this is the back. So I want to make sure that this front part looks the business. And then ever so... Oh no, it's not going to happen, is it? Patience again. So we just have to wait. Might be worthwhile if you have something that depth and that size, pop it inside. Give this something to work with just on the inside. And this is why I said to you that you need patience, just to hold it and make sure everything stays in place. And then that beautifully embossed circle, I know that's popping up. I'm not concerned because I'm going to pop this on in a minute. So a nice bit of glue on here. Again, make sure we get to those edges. And then I'm going to pop this on to the top of here. and it just fits nicely. So I'm just going to give that a little push, and now I've got this on to reinforce it, I'm just going to carefully, she says, carefully slide the lid off. No, she's not, it's not going to come off without moving. Oh, why won't this come off now? Oh, there we go. And the whole thing's shifted. Hey ho. Right, turn it over. And obviously you've got a lot of cardstock sticking up here because again you've embossed it so it's thicker. Get this pot. It's a fabulous size for doing this. Give it a good push because you want to flatten the DSP inside. Unfortunately, yes, you may just flatten the top of your box, but in reality it's still a pretty pattern, and you could always add flowers or more ribbon. So there's the lid made up. So now we want to add some ribbon around the edge. So again, I'm going to go using the same, this beautiful Calypso Coral Silk ribbon, satin ribbon even. And then I'm just going to leave while that's drying. As I say, if you've got something that you can and pop inside here to keep it all nice and you know, sort of puffed up at the top so you don't have to press so hard, then that's ideal. So I've got some tear and tape. Which side is this? Beautiful satin ribbon, but they're both sides are the same. So I'm just going to run my tear and tape down the length of my ribbon there. And then I just need to take the backing off. But I'm not taking it all off. And again, now what I might find useful, if it'll even go back on, is to pop this back on your box. There we go. That's better. So that's the back, this is the front. Take a piece off at a time, and I'm going to halfway along the box. And I'm also going to the very edge of the base. So I don't know if you can see. This stupid thing won't zoom in. I can't even get my words out now. You know what I mean. It just won't focus. That's the word. So I'm just working my way round now, round the edge. Just pulling the tear and tape here with this finger. And then making sure that it sits straight on the bottom of the lid. So there's your beautiful ribbon all the way round. And then my last but least bit is the decoration. So the beautiful Bitty Blooms punch pack. So I'm going to do 3 of these So Saffron and 3 Blushing Bride. And then I'm using the Happiness Blooms enamel dots to decorate. So I am going with, what shall I go with here? I think I'm going to be really contraire. I'm going to go the lovely lipstick on the pink, and I'm using the larger ones on these. Oops. So lovely lipstick on there, and then Calypso Coral on the yellow ones. So just put in an enamel dot on the middle, and then my glue dots for my flowers. So I'm just sticking these on as they go, and then obviously using my paper piercer to just stick these on. So I'm going to go one at the top, do exactly the same as I did with this yellow one. So pink one there, and obviously you could add and decorate your hat, your bonnet, however you like, but obviously these just cover up the join there of the ribbon. Oh, get off. Didn't want to come off then. And the last yellow one you can put wherever you like, really. I think I'm going to put it there. Why weren't they stuck to that? There we go. And those are my flowers. And obviously now this has had chance to dry, it will just come off. Okay, and you can see now why you have to wait for this glue to dry, because I mean this one does actually slide on and off a little easier, but you could fill them with a nice little treat just for your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, anybody you wanted to, a little Easter bonnet. I hope you like them, hope it's given you inspiration, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye!